Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. Today we are revisiting Expanse and we are ranking the crew. Now I know Thursday I did a solo video, but the charges were dropped and Jack's back. We won't get into the details. But Jack, how are we feeling? We're about to rank the crew. We were probably me more than you, but we were quite critical of the game. Are you looking forward to ranking these characters from a fairly wooden game?
I think I'd have rather seen the charges, mate. No, he's all seriousness. No, it'll be interesting. If I'm honest, going right off the bat, of course, if you're new to the channel, this will be fairly familiar to you if you've been watching our Expanse videos, but we didn't particularly enjoy the Expanse that much, did we? We think it was a bit underwhelming, so I'm expecting no S category characters here, to be honest, but we'll go and we'll see.
No, I completely agree. Usually we go left to right. It's just kind of like in the order the images were shoved in there. We'll do it a bit differently this time, mate. I'll let you pick a character. We'll take turns and then we can talk about them. Where are you starting?
Should we just start with Maya? I'll start positively, or at least for me anyway.
Okay.
Because if I was ranking these characters not as a tier list, but as just like a worst to best thing, I probably would put Maya as the best. Now, I think it's because obviously you're playing as drummer, but you get some nice moments with her, whether it's the music. I just like the playful banter that she has with you. And the fact that she can come and save you, like when you've got the other ship like ready to fire at you and stuff. The only thing that goes against her is the fact that she does just get wiped out of the game after episode 3. I've actually gone back and played to see what happens if she stays alive, and she doesn't feature in the game. She doesn't feature in episode 5 until you're back on the ship at the very end, which is a bit of a bum no, because it gives you this big lead up, for their relationship and stuff. But nonetheless, if I'm talking about her raw character, she's probably my favourite of the lot, mate.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, like, apparently if you sleep with her versus if you don't sleep with her, the dialogue remains exactly the same. Now, that's not on mine, that's on the writing. But yeah, there's some frustrations there, and I feel the theme with every TellTale character is if they can die, they just become an ornament in the background, and it is frustrating to see because she can die in episode 3, meaning that, like, in the latter half of the game, she's just non-existent. But her moments, in the first half are definitely some of the more positive ones in this game. So Jack and I will be ranking them based on how much we like them. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like, definitely not an S character, because I think if we're talking Telltales, that's where you put in your Clementines and your Lees and that,
Yeah.
A still is a big push for me, and it's just because of, like, the game. I just think it's so short that we have no time to explore these characters, that I feel like B is the maximum I'd give Maya. I'm not gonna lie, mate.
Honestly, completely agreed. Yeah, B for, I don't know, bravo.
B, bravo, you did well.
Yeah.
I think best of the bunch.
Yeah, best of the bunch, yeah. I don't think she can go any higher than that. So I think B's fine.
I'll kick off next with, let's go for Toussaint. Let's go for the one that's kind of, we've gone for the crew and then we've kind of put Toussaint in there because they're probably the character we see the most outside.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a shame. We meet them at the end of episode 4, and it's kind of like, oh, they could do something really cool here. We're with the pirates. We're going back on board the ship. I had so many expectations coming into episode 5, thinking there was going to be this whole, like, bargaining thing, like maybe you can, like, give away your cargo and then they spare you. Maybe you could pick the pirates over the crew fully, but you end up having to just kill her anyway, and I don't know, like, just a bit of a lackluster character, and they could have been a really cool big boss at the end, but they just weren't. And I feel that creepy arm thing gave me vibes of, like, yeah, she was just a little sort of on the predator side, a bit touchy-feely for my liking. So it's weird. I think, like, maybe it's got to be C or D. They're definitely not getting in there with Maya, are they?
That's the thing with Tucson. Like, is it just me? She doesn't feel like that much of a villain. Like, the drones felt more villainous than her, and like you meet her, and for a good chunk of the time, she's trying to persuade you to come to her side. So I never really got that sense of threat or danger in her presence, because it was like, even when you went and betrayed her, if you chose to go that way, she's still at the end trying to like draw comparisons between, you and her. And yeah, I don't know, as an antagonist, she didn't really hold up. So she did, yeah, like you said, she just sort of fell by the wayside a little bit, not very memorable. So yeah, I'm in the sort of CD category. If I was, because I feel like a lot of these characters are going to probably be C and D anyway, I'd say that Tucson is maybe a low C or a high D.
Yeah, we'll say C, because I feel like D might be reserved for absolute like murderer trait. I don't know, like I feel like, like we put, if we're doing Telltale comparisons, Walking Dead, we like the bottom of the barrel, we had like cannibals in there, and racists and stuff. So I feel like, we'll put them C, but I feel like they could get pipped. Where do you want to go next, mate?
Let's go Khan next. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking with Khan, mate?
Khan, I mean, it's a funny one with Khan. As a character, she was one of my favourites, and again, similarly to Maya, she was sort of left by the wayside. But going on likability, again, it's a bit of a weird one, because it depends how you treat her. She can go on a little bit of an arc if you get her the cigar and you hear her backstory and stuff. Do I think that she's up there with Maya? No, not in terms of likability. So I'm leaning towards category C, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I was thinking like very low B or high C. Certainly between the two we have on the board at the moment. And yeah, no, I agree. Like there is. I thought she kind of like, maybe you could argue she sort of stole episode 2 in terms of the character depth. I really liked the conversation between, her and Drummer at the end, and then I really liked the touch with like the cigar kind of like, in the middle finger lighter. There was just some really cool things about her, especially like the fact that at the start she's a bit of a Mona Myrtle and then she turns good. Little poorly written at the end, but I mean, it's just the kind of thing where episode 3 and 4 we just didn't get to meet the characters, so they were dropped. So when it got to the moment where I had the untimely death with her, where for some reason I ended up having to shoot her in the QTEs, I was like, why am I doing this? I thought I liked her. I was a little unfazed. I was like, I haven't seen you in 2 episodes, which was like a month, in real time, wasn't it? So should we go high C for now? I reckon that's probably a good spot. I know a lot of people are probably going to be thinking like, oh, they were way higher, but like the fact the game we were a bit unimpressed by is going to dramatically affect these rankings, I feel, right?
Of course, yeah.
I think we'll get, maybe one of the brothers out the way. I'll go with Arlen, actually, because like he's probably the more black and white out of the two. It's interesting because like I really like the mystery around the brothers, like what was going to happen to them around the start. And I really like this whole dynamic about how he was on the pixie dust and he was shaking and you had to get him meds. And I was like, oh, this could be really good here. There's something really kind of like interesting about Arlen that I really liked. I really didn't like the way that you come back off the, on the ship on episode 3 and he just, in a flash, becomes a dictator. Like he just completely turns on you. I don't know, the writing just felt a bit cheap to me, like it wasn't expected. It was just this, I get, you're like kind of like people with different motives on this pirate ship, and the morals like, sort of fade anyway, but like, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy that writing. And the guy was an absolute donut in episode 5, the way like, your ship's being infiltrated and he's just faffing about on the deck, kind of just like looking at weapons and stuff. So yeah, like I guess because he absolutely betrays you and like, basically borderline chucks, like your possible girlfriend off the ship and just, becomes an absolute brutal murderer. I mean, he could have been a high character, but because they wrote him off as this absolute villain, I guess like you could probably put him in D, mate. I don't know about you.
Yeah, again, he obviously comes as an antagonist certainly by the end of the plot, he certainly seemed like a character that, I mean, he's completely out for himself, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
when Cox was, when Cox, he couldn't wait to get him in the, literally from the opening shot of the game, he's helping dragging Cox like straight into the, what do you call it? What's it called? Like the air bunker thing.
Oh god,
Airlock.
airlock. Yeah.
God almighty. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So when, he couldn't wait to drag him into the airlock, and then it was very much the same with Drummer and Maya later on. He's loyal to himself, isn't he? He just, clearly, it was almost like that classic, like, climb to power. He saw an opportunity and he took it. But in terms of the writing, I completely agree. It come out of nowhere. And I think it would have been more interesting because, you know how, like, he's seen as, like, the dominating brother anyway? Like, when you see them fighting, he's the one that's got Ryan in, like, the headlock. From a writing point of view, I think it would have been far more interesting if they made someone else in the crew, like the turncoat. Maybe it would have been Ryan, which, would have been better because of the whole leg choice earlier on. Maybe you could have had Khan or even Maya. Arlen felt like a sort of obvious choice for a turncoat. And even when it was executed, I was like, oh, right, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, in terms of his character, he didn't really impact on me that much. He would finish towards the bottom, and he's not very likeable either. So certainly, yeah, I think D category worthy, mate.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Cool, mate. Where do you want to go next?
Let's go Virgil, shall we? Should we start with Virgil? Virgil, I think he's generally quite a likeable guy. Like, whenever someone's in trouble, he always tries to step in. I mean, obviously, there was the whole Cox showdown thing in episode 1. He tries to mediate it. He's there for Khan. Obviously, if you make the right choices, he can help Khan with the arm. He can help her again in the final episode. And, of course, he can help Ryan as well. He does have that mysterious past, but again, it's his past. That doesn't really come to surface in the game, which, you could argue is an opportunity missed. Nonetheless, I don't recall any real moments where Virgil was hostile to you. I mean, obviously that is determined by your gameplay, I guess. But yeah, like, I think he doesn't quite make B. Well, I don't know, maybe he does make B. Maybe it's low B, high C. What I'm gonna pitch, mate.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. There's not much to hate about the guy. Like, he's just a bit of a nice guy on board. Yeah, he's got his dark secret, but it's not all that bad. He's trying to escape a past like a lot of people are. So yeah, no, I don't hate him by any means. I just feel like a lot of these characters, like similarly to Khan, right? He just was like abandoned like for 2 episodes, and then it completely kind of, because of the writing. So by the time we get back on board, I just didn't really care that much about him. It was nice that I got to save him at the end, but yeah, like, there's just nothing really bad to say about him. I've just got not much to comment. Like, guy who likes mushrooms, dances in the kitchen, what's not to like? I mean, I would put him high C, low B. I think he falls in a similar bracket to Khan, mate. I think he's pretty identical to Khan, that I might actually put him with Khan. I'm just thinking, would we say he's better than Khan?
I think in terms of more likability, you'd have to say yeah, because Khan can be a bit of a dick to you at the start, can't she?
Yeah.
So I think he just pips her, I reckon.
Yeah, plain Jane C. Right, I will go for Cox, not literally, the character Garrison Cox. Steady on, guys. I mean, the point I mentioned about characters being able to die and becoming an ornament in the background, it is very much the case with him. I mean, like, but from episode 1, right, he's the first one who can die, and then I didn't have him in my game, I got rid of him straight away. You had him in the game, and all you really got was maybe one bit of dialogue in the middle of the game, and then at the end he can like help you out and have the bottle scene, which is still really cool. So he can turn good. He's got a bit of a nice light to him. But other than that, there's just not much at all to chew on, to the point. Like, because he turns good, I probably can't lump him in with Arlen, because he doesn't actually kill it. Well, I guess he tries to kill Drummer at the start, but I know. I'm willing to put him as the lowest C, below Khan, mate.
I was literally going to say either low C or high D. Because, yeah, you literally split him down the middle. He tries to kill you, but he equally saves you. So, you know what I mean? The guy sits somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I'll put him there because, like, you know, Arlen's a naughty boy.
Shall we, I'll tell you what, should we leave Drummer till last and maybe do Ryan, the other brother, next? Yeah. Ryan, for me at least, he's the least memorable crew member of the Artemis crew. He's someone, I mean, I'm trying to, you know, when you think of, like, when you look at some of these characters and you think, oh, tell me moments when that character was, you know, relevant, or, you know, what comes to mind. I can look at some and I'm like picking out straight away. With Ryan, it's sort of like you've got the leg choice, I guess. Beyond that, like, I know there was a moment where you're like getting some like little pod things out of the ship, and he's like, woohoo, like floating around in space. But yeah, he's just there, isn't he? He doesn't really do that much, but equally he's not exactly dislikable either. And I guess if we are basing it on likability, I don't know, I guess maybe between Virgil and Khan, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I the thing is with Ryan, I completely agree with the point you mentioned earlier. The turncoat being Arlen, it would have been more interesting if it was Ryan, because he was kind of the quieter, the nicer brother. And how interesting would it have been if, like, you chopping his leg off, you not intervening in the play fight, you not getting the brother meds, being the reason why the younger brother, like, maybe even turns on his older brother. That's what I really wanted to happen. I do like the fact that he does have these arcs where he kind of, like, sees himself as a bit of a mediator between Drummer and Arlen, and he tries to, like, you know, kind of build the peace a little bit. And I like the fact that there's an option where he can actually kind of turn good, see what his brother's doing, and, you know, if you get the right paths, he can kill, you know, his own brother. I really thought the writing screwed him by the fact that he can, you know, betray you, go along with his brother, if you say, like, was to get the meds, not chop off his leg, but you didn't intervene in one little petty play fight between brothers, that he can turn on you. But also the fact that with the writing, there was no sort of difference in the choices. Like, he just was nice the whole time. Because I wronged him on 2 occasions, it would have been nice if he made some bitter remarks towards me at certain moments, but none of that ever happened. So, I mean, I know I'm really kind of banging on about Ryan. In terms of likability, I mean, you know, I did like him. I know I killed him. I stomped on his face with the air boots. But yeah, I kind of agree. I'd probably, although he's a really likable character, I think because he betrays you with his brother, while Khan doesn't really do that, I feel like I'd put him above Toussaint, below Khan, maybe, mate.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, that is fair. That is fair. I'm guessing I'm just almost looking on, like, because he survived in mind, that, like, maybe the nicer things shone through, but I think you are right, because it literally depends what way you take him, because, he can literally see 2 people get spaced, really, can't he? So.
Yeah, for sure. I know we're going for a very C-heavy category, but we had to rank the crew, and we kind of expected this. We weren't going to put S's and A's out there, guys. I'm sorry.
Looks like a dick.
Yeah, Drummer. I mean, it's a bit weird. I always say this, whether we're talking Max Caulfield, Lee Everett, you know, whoever, main characters can often be quite bland because they're a canvas. We're doing their choices, so they deliberately don't have, like, an over-the-top personality, because, you know, they're trying to, it's almost like the game's trying to make it us, you know. I know this can be a little different if we talk things like Bigby from, like, Wolf Among Us and stuff, you know, it's not always true. So, like, I always find it really difficult to rank a main character, but I mean, it's difficult as well, because someone who is a fan of The Expanse, like, obviously Drummer's a real character in there, could probably tell us more about them. But in terms of someone who's not an Expanse fan, who's going just by this game, like, sure, she was a feasible main character, but I never walked into these episodes, mate, thinking, oh yeah, I get to play as Drummer. Like, I never had that sentiment. So, like, no. I think, like, B, maybe, with Maya, because she's definitely not getting S or A for me. It's just, I might need a bit of help with your phrase, mate, about whether she goes above or below Maya. I mean, I know she was above and below her in my playthrough. Get on. But no, like in terms of where I'm ranking her, yeah, I don't really know where I'd put her. How about you, lad?
No, I'd probably put her below Maya.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I think the best moments of Drummer is when she's with Maya. I think it's like they're the moments that bring out the best in her, like her playful side. I think, and understandably so. She's the captain of the ship. She's got to make the decisions. She's got to have a bit more seriousness to her. But yeah, there's just something about her personality that just didn't jump out on screen that much. So I completely get your sentiment where you're saying that, you're not sort of that excited to be playing as her, and it may be just a little bit more of a fan service thing for Expanse fans that we get to play as her and see her story before the TV series. So, in terms of loyalty, I mean, for me, yeah, it could either be in C as well. Maybe though, because we play as her and we get more time as her, maybe that's got some sort of bias in it and that bumps her up to B.
Sure.
But I certainly wouldn't put her above Maya, mate.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm willing to put her as a low B alongside Maya. I do get you. I think as well, like we get all these backstory snippets, don't we? And I just never really clocked onto them or kind of cared about them too much, really. Even in my playthrough, like, you know how, say, like, I would mention it again, Big B and the Wolf Among Us, you can kind of be like, I still felt like you could kind of like be a really aggressive cop who got answers and just didn't care, or you could be that caring person who does things by the book for Snow. I really felt like you could be good or bad, to get your results. Drummer just felt very one note for me, regardless of the choices. Now, we had very different playthroughs where I killed off crew left, right, and centre, and when on episode 5 I came back on board the Artemis and I started, like just killing people like mad. I wanted to go for this like vengeful, badass kind of character, but like the expression just never changed. She just was very one note, and I'm gonna gamble that she probably had the same dialogue and the same facial expressions as you would have in your game. And it would have been nice if they had a bit more depth to her and a bit more variety in the gameplay, because I mean these are choice-based games after all, and it would have been nice if that was a little, flourishing touch we had for her. There you go, lad. I mean, that is our final TellTale Expanse crew ranking. Might be controversial, I don't know. We're shooting from the hip here. This is basically what we think. I don't really know what other people's opinions are in the community, so we could be way off the norm. People might agree with us. So guys, in the comments, let us know who your favourite people are, who your least favourite people are, and tell us what you'd change about our list.
Only if this is the first Expanse video that you've seen, do check out our analysis series, and we are going to be putting more Expanse videos out over the coming weeks. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, see you guys in the next one. Take care for now.